And now our last topic for tonight. Israel is known as the startup nation. The small country has seen billions of dollars of investments pouring in recent years. But many analysts saying this boom cannot last forever, and some even saying the bubble has already burst. Joining us now to discuss is Assistant Professor Vili Abraham, Economic Consumer Behavior and International Marketing Expert. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So before we talk about the future, let's talk for a second about the past, the growth that the Israeli startup ecosystem has seen over the past few years. I mean, what can you tell us about this?
Well, Israel has seen tremendous growth in investment because we have so many entrepreneurs who have unique ideas, which not in many cases, 99% of ideas usually fail. But let's say 1 out of 100 ideas usually come into fruition and they make a big impact, not only in Israel and the world. Before COVID or even during COVID, we had a record number of investments coming into Israel. But the thing that is happening now is that the war in Ukraine is really having a severe impact on the economy, on supply chains. And because we have shortages, prices are increasing. Profits are also decreasing if you look at high-tech companies, and this is making pessimism in the markets really prevalent. If you look at stock markets, not only in Tel Aviv and London and in New York, serious declines. Every day there are 2-3 percentage points declines. It's all red, red, red. If you look at S&P 500, its value today is equivalent to its value back in the beginning of 2021. So it means that a lot of investors have lost all the money that they've made in the last 1 or 2 years.
I mean, so you mentioned, companies' valuations dropping. We're hearing of hiring freezes, possible massive layoffs, investors and companies tightening their budget. I mean, this is all simply because of the war between Russia and Ukraine, or is there something else that's brought this on as well?
No, well, if you just, just before President Vladimir Putin declared war on Ukraine, the economies in the world started recovering, more people traveling, businesses were beginning to recover and hire more employees. But the minute he declared war on Ukraine, there was a lot of pessimism. And it's not only pessimism, the stock market is influenced a lot by pessimism, by sentiment. But the thing that is affecting the world economy today, and I have to mention that we're not in a recession yet. I really don't want to think what is going to happen if we do enter a recession. So we're not there yet, and the economies around the world are really hard hit, specifically because of supply chains. There is a shortage of products around the world, products like wheat and corn that come from Ukraine or from Russia, and this is increasing prices, and it makes the average family, not only in Israel, in Israel it was always difficult, but now it's even more difficult. But even in the United States, you hear this every day. Families are really having a hard time making ends meet because the inflation is high in the sky. It's about 8.5% a month. It's incredible. This hasn't been the case for about 4 years.
Okay. So, I mean, the main question is, has the tech bubble burst, or is it about to burst? And if so, what exactly does this mean for the Israeli tech ecosystem?
Well, I don't think it has burst because there are a lot of startups and a lot of ideas flying around. I think it's just a temporary halt in investment because investors don't want to put their money in a venture which they're not sure, whether it's going to bring any profits. If you look at, regular times, right, not crazy times like we live in today, investors don't want to leave their money in the bank because they're going to lose their wealth. They want to invest it somewhere because, the interest rate is so low if you put your money in savings accounts. So I think that today investors, they're willing to give up on profits, which are very risky these days, and leave their money in the bank. I think that once the Ukrainian war stops, we'll have a lot of investments coming into this country because we are the startup nation. This is our brand, and I don't think we'll really have any long-term effects. I really don't think there's a bubble that is going to burst, no.
So you don't think that this will have any effect on the Israeli tech ecosystem or on the Israeli economy, perhaps?
Not in the long run. In the short run, definitely. If you look at Israeli startups that are, they raise money from abroad, Unfortunately, a lot of the money doesn't go into the Israeli economy because, if there's an exit, then the company, is outsourced or it goes somewhere offshore. So in the short run, yes, we might feel the pinch, especially if you look at high-tech workers who might lose their job, who might suffer from salary cuts. But in the long run, I think that it's not something we have to really worry about. The whole world is really suffering from a decrease in investments, again, because investors see such a high risk in investing in high-tech companies.
All right, let's hope that's the case. Assistant Professor Vili Abraham, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
It was a pleasure.
Hi everyone, it's Emmanuel Kadosh. I wanted to invite you all to subscribe to ILTV Plus, where you can find our daily news and updates about Israel. And not only that, but live feeds, entertainment, our kosher food show, and so much more. Needless to say, your subscription to ILTV Plus helps us grow and create more content while also supporting the state of Israel. Our app is available on all platforms and devices, so I'll see you guys there.